Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chair Shot Wrestling Podcast. This is Steve O'Mac here from Moonlight Studios with Deano D Truth.
What is crack-a-lacking, Steve-O?
Well, Deano, what is crack-a-lacking is I'm going to say this, and then this is up to you to talk me round, right? But this is how I sort of feel at the minute. I feel like I might have just watched possibly the best match for match pay-per-view of all time. And you've got to, if you think I'm talking shit, you're going to have to talk me round and we're going to have to discuss. Look,
It's hard to me. It's hard for me to argue with you, and it's hard for me to sort of like prove you wrong, because I know how big of an AEW fan is, and I'm coming around now, like, I fucking love AEW, and I'm definitely enjoying AEW way more. I'm enjoying WWE at the minute, and I'll admit that. But it's hard for me to say, it's better than the certain WrestleManias and that. But I think it's different, because I think if you sit there and you compare it match to match, as like if I say WrestleMania 17 or 20, or like, it's all like, some of the great ones I've enjoyed. It's like, you compare it match to match, it'd probably beat it. But the overall event and the excitement and the fucking star power and the fucking razzmatazz of WrestleMania for me is just like it would beat it, because like Forbidden Door, like, it was just like, it's just all about the wrestling in it. Like there's not a lot of let me up, there's not a lot of this, but fuck me, like saying that, like I couldn't fault it. Like, I think every single match I watch, and this isn't me exaggerating, I think every single match I watch, I would give it at least 4, and most of them 5 stars out of 5 stars. I just think, like, it was fucking incredible from start to finish. Like, and it's hard for me to shit on it, and I'm fucking saying it's one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen. But some of the WrestleManias wedged it for me, just because I add on, it's not just the match quality, I add on the nostalgia of it, I add on the event, you know what I mean? I add on the glitz and glamour. I like all that stuff, you know what I mean? So that's what I will say. But match for match, fuck me, like, wow. Wow.
We're going to get into the nitty gritty of it, mate. But before we get into it.
Anyway, guys, before we get into it, sorry, I nearly forgot to do it then, didn't I? I'm getting too excited as we did. But guys, I know you're enjoying the show. I can tell us fellow sickos, we enjoy this sort of thing. So please, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends. And also, we know you're busy like us. So please, if you haven't got time to listen to it and you ain't got time to watch our pre-faces, which I'm sure you'd be gutted about, you know what I mean? I'm only joking. Let's listen to it on Apple Music. Let's listen to it on Spotify or Amazon Music, I believe, Steve, isn't it?
It is.
So yeah, let's get, anyway, that being said, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get cracking, as I like to say, Steve. You go.
Okay. So I was so looking forward to this pay-per-view, right? But like mainly two matches in particular, right? I was really, really up for this Kenny Omega Zack Sabre Jr. match.
Me too.
And I was really up for watching Ospreay versus Swerve in the final of the Owen Hart tournament.
And can I just say, sorry to interrupt you, but that Kenny match and that Zack Sabre Jr. match was the main reason, because I was in bed at 1 a.m. yesterday, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to watch it in the morning, you know what I mean? Because I had the day off work today, and I was knackered. It was a busy weekend at work. And you messaged me, and like you said about the tag match, and then the tag match, didn't you, which we're going to get onto, which was the triple threat tag match, which was fucking fantastic. The Bucks were brilliant. This Sky team, unreal tag team, and this Unbound code, just unreal. But anyway, a part of me, there was 2 reasons I woke up. And one was, I was like, fuck me, I'm going to watch this tag match if Steve-O reckons it was that good. And number 2, I knew that even if I couldn't stay up for the entire event because I'm too tired, I knew Zack Sabre Jr. and Kenny was going to be on early, because I knew it was, as good as a match it was, I knew it wasn't one of the main events, and I knew the cage match would be on later. I knew the Owen final match would be on later. So I thought, well, worst case scenario, I can watch that match and go to bed. So that was the main reason I got up last night. And wow. Just wow.
Well, I had a fairly late night on Saturday night, mate, because I watched Night of Champions. And then after I'd watched that, I was kind of a little bit wrestled out. And, I didn't want to watch the England match. I wasn't interested in watching that. I thought, oh, no, I'm going to watch the latest episode of House of the Dragons. Very, very good first episode. If you're into that and you haven't seen it yet, definitely worth a watch. So I had a fairly late night on Saturday, and I had to get up early for work on Sunday morning. And it got to about 8:30 in the evening, and I was feeling a little bit tired. And I'd had a couple of drinks during the day, and I said to the missus, I said, I feel like I need to have an early one. I said, because I said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to bed about 8:30 in the evening. I'm going to get a solid 3.5 hours sleep, get up at midnight, and watch Forbidden Door. Right? I had it in my head that it was going to be about 4 hours from midnight to 4 in the morning.
Nah, that's silly, man. Where do AEW ever do that?
Well, I don't know. I thought, I reckon I could do that, and then I'll be all right to then get another couple of hours sleep before I get up for work on Monday morning. Well, I got the bloody timing wrong, didn't I? Because I've got up at 12, I've put it on, and realised that that's when the 0 hour starts. So the main show doesn't start till 1 in the morning. But I'm up now, and I've had my first coffee, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I can't, there's no point in going back to bed for half an hour.
I like the 0 hour, though, for the main reason I get to hear my boy Double J.
Yeah. So I watched that, and then, that was it. And look, I didn't even know that this match was on the card, because this was this triple threat tag team match was added to the card quite late. But I really understand why Tony Khan did it, because what it's done is it was sort of showcasing the 3 different cultures, really, that he brings together with Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door is AEW, it's Mexican wrestling, CMLL, and it's 2 main promotions of Japanese wrestling. You've got Stardom, and you've also got New Japan, right? So Stardom being mainly the female Japanese wrestlers, and New Japan, obviously the best male Japanese wrestlers in the world. So this perfectly showcased this clash of cultures. You've got the Young Bucks, in my opinion, probably all in all the best tag team in the world. I know you're going to say to me FTR, Deano, because I know you love them. I know you love them. For me, I love the Bucks. I just think they're fucking flawless. I never see him put a foot wrong. Not that I see FTR put a foot.
It's hard to compare them. It's like comparing who was the best team out of the Dudleys and the Hardys, because it's chalk and cheese. They're like, they're both so good in their own way. Because some old timers would hate the Young Bucks because they're like, they're just this new wave of wrestling, and a lot of people like it. Well, I'm really enjoying it. They're all the flippy floppy stuff. Why don't they do this? Why don't they sell it more? Why don't they do that? Where FTR are all about the old school, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? It's chalk and cheese. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is. And I don't think you can really fault either of them. They're just so good in their own way. You know what I mean? And when they get together, it's always magic. But anyway, that being said.
So we had the Young Bucks, and they were up against a tag team from New Japan. And we did look up the name, and it's escaped me, mate. Unbound Company, yeah. I can't remember what the 2 individuals were called.
No.
I know one of them was a former heavyweight champion, so he was a big deal, been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you had this other tag team called Sky Team. Now you've got Mystico, who is Sin Cara. Okay, so he is a Mexican legend.
Jesus Christ, as well.
And he's still got it, mate.
Good, still got it. I think, to be honest with you, I don't know whether he was held back in WWE, but I don't remember him ever being that explosive. Like, and he was obviously like 15 years younger then, like more in his prime. But he looks in better physical shape now. He looks like, he looks so stacked.
He's about 43, 44 now, mate.
But he looks so stacked, but he's just still doing all this, like, and even Ray, my boy, Ray Mysterio, yeah. When he was in his 40s, Ray sort of like calmed down a little bit on the move, but some of them moves he was doing was like, like, it just reminded me of some fucking Ray Mysterio in the early 2000s shit, you know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. And I loved it when they done the double 619 as well.
Yeah, well, his tag partner was Mascara Dorada.
Yeah, fantastic wrestler.
Because he's the second version of that. And this guy, mate, he has got some future, because he's 25 years old. He's unbelievable what he can do. Again, the Mexican sort of lucha libre wrestling, like when you're watching the best in the world do it, it's like an art form, isn't it? Like, you know, how they make the moves flow together, and it's the landings and stuff like that they do. The athleticism, it's just so smooth the way that they throw it together, and these two together are just fantastic because it's perfect. It's almost, it really is like a master and an apprentice.
I was going to say he's only in his 20s, isn't he? That Graham?
Yeah, about 25. Mate.
Right?
I'll tell you what it made me think. I'll mention him, but we'll come on and talk about his match in a bit. But when we talk about Bandido as well, I was looking at these three and thinking, right, they've got the legend in Mystico, they've got Mascara Dorada, and they've got Bandido. It's no wonder that they let Penta and Phoenix go to WWE. You know, they didn't put up much of a fight to keep them there. And I kind of, at the time, I was a little bit disappointed when they went to WWE because I thought that the Lucha Brothers were a really good, solid tag team.
And Death Triangle when they were back, I love that.
Yeah, but I do get it. Tony Khan's probably looked at it and gone, look, I've got these guys, I've got these young guys, I've got these new young guys from Mexico that are just going to be another level of luchadors, you know, a level beyond what we've seen ever. And yeah, we're going to talk about him like he's going to get heaps of praise, Bandido, because he could be anything. But yeah, this opening match, mate, like, I messaged you, didn't I? I had a feeling that you might still be awake because I know you're a bit of a night owl, aren't you? You don't normally go to bed early, and it was probably about 20 past.
Chef life, baby, like it says it there. You know what I mean? The late nights.
And I thought I'll just ping you over a message just on the off chance that you're awake. And I said to you, I've just seen this match. It wasn't even a match that was on the card. And mate, I'm giving it 5 stars. Opening match, it was incredible. It just had everything. It was just such a fun, fantastic showcase. Like I said, of 3 different cultures and styles of wrestling. I couldn't fault it. I just thought it was a perfect opening match, and it set the tone for the whole pay-per-view. It was brilliant. And you read it, didn't you? You was in bed and you read that message. And then what did you do?
Wake me up. No. Well, you didn't wake me up. You made me not want to go to bed. I just said, like, and next thing you know, I'm ordering some fucking food to the house at 2 a.m. and I'm paying for the pay-per-view, and that cost me a nice little 40-odd quid. You know what I mean? There's 40 quid. It's just gone. Like, that's fine. But it was worth it. And I was up.
Not for the pay-per-view. That's for your food.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I just thought, yeah. I'm sorry I stayed up, but that tag match was set off the tone. Yeah. And then I think the next match was Bandido and Moxley?
No, it then went to Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr.
I'm going to give this now. Just such storytelling, and I love this Zack Sabre Jr. I love the fact that he's from England as well, and it's like he just looks the part, doesn't he? He comes out with I love his look, that he looks like an old school, like, you know, like sort of Olympian wrestler, and he's got like the tracksuit top done up really high, and he's got the blonde hair, the dyed blonde hair.
He's got like a bit of a punk vibe about him.
That's what he calls the punk man. I see they call him the front man, don't they? There's the group now, which I think is a really cool nickname. But he's wrestling, it's so different, and it's so unique, and it's like, I don't think there's anyone like it. Reminds me of like a mix of few people. It reminds me of classic Regal a little bit. You know what I mean? It reminds me of Fit Finlay a little bit. It reminds, you know, there's a few bit, little bit of Kurt Angle mixing there, and Chris Benoit with their stuff. And there's a lot going on, and he just seems to be one of them people, you know, just the way he like manipulates people's joints, and like he uses his legs a lot for pins and submissions, and like, you know, he's just such a, and you know, he puts his weight, even though he's not one of the biggest guys, he uses his weight so smartly to, like, you know, like make better pins and make, you know, increase submissions. I don't know. He's just such a talent. And then what can you say about the best bout machine? You know, Kenny Omega, you know, the cleaner. What? It just he looks to be at his best again, doesn't he? And I think him having this match with Zach has just maybe elevated him into that title picture again, you know, and said, like, made you think, you know, it's brought the best out of him, isn't it, again?
Definitely, yeah. he looks.
It made sense.
He looks every bit the Kenny Omega that we saw, a few years older, maybe a little bit bigger, but I mean, he's still, he's still got it. He can still go. Zack Sabre Jr., the way that he turns a pinfall or just a simple move on someone, and and he's even pinning them, isn't he? And then he goes into that bridge where he uses his head.
That's what I mean. He uses his weight so smartly. Even though he's one of the biggest guys.
I've already said this, mate. He is a unique attraction, right? I couldn't watch Zack Sabre Jr., I don't think, every single week, because if I saw him do those moves every single week on TV, I feel like I'll be too exposed to it all the time, and it wouldn't seem as special. I think Zack Sabre Jr. is in exactly the right place. I don't feel like he's someone that AEW should sign on a permanent basis. I think he is someone that you bring in for 2 or 3 high-quality matches per year, because he is just something completely different, mate. There is nobody on the planet.
He's unbelievable, and I'd love to see
like this guy.
Obviously, I don't watch New Japan stuff, but it's just I'd love to see. I'd love to see him on AEW more on a regular basis. Maybe not all the time. I don't want to spoil him, but I'd love to see him on about maybe 4 or 5 of the pay-per-views a year, and stuff like that. Like have a match. I just think, I love him. And I like the fact that he's from England for me even makes him bad. But who've done a really good job in this match? How good were the commentators in this match?
Yeah.
Because
the commentary team was fabulous.
They were fantastic all night, but particularly, and I thought they're fantastic all night, and they're such a good team. I love Escabra and Shivani and
Nigel
McGuinness is fantastic.
He's got such a comedy thing about
There's one thing I made, so I can't remember what wrestler it was, but he said that wrestler is to wrestling what Taz is to the colour orange and fucking knee surgeries. And I just thought that was fantastic. He's just mugging old Taz. I thought but no, back to what I was saying. Them on this match was fantastic because they made the match feel and sound so much more important because they was saying, this is the first time they've wrestled in 8 years and they've never wrestled in the States. And last time Zack Sabre Jr. fought Omega, he weren't the wrestler he was now. He weren't a former world champion. He was still a little bit learning his craft. And they just made it into such a big fight, Phil. And not only that, they sort of kept saying what the States were saying. Look, if Kenny wins this, he's back in the world title picture. And, he's desperate to get a picture. But if Zack wins this, he's going to want to go back to Japan and fight for their world title.
Yeah.
But then maybe Zack's going to want to come over here and fight for the AEW title. So maybe then after this, he's going to have a claim. And I thought they were selling this to make them saying, these guys, this ain't just a win for them. This elevates them. And they made it feel so fucking important that you're like, wow, you're watching this match thinking, oh, God, who's going to win? Like, this is going to be massive whoever wins this match. And they just sold it. And, I just couldn't. The commentary chain were absolutely on point.
I really feel like, mate, you had that real sense, didn't you, of fatigue from both of them because they just kept going and going and going. And you could see at the end of it, right, the pair of them were absolutely spent. Like they just put on the spectacle.
And then you know what? They didn't ruin it.
They had nothing left to give.
And they didn't ruin it because obviously Omega has got he's got the elite behind him. And what's his team called? DMTK or something?
Yeah.
And, he's got his boys. And there was a little bit in the couple of weeks before where the boys come out and, they were like, sort of, nearly got in a big brawl. And Kenny was like, look, let's fucking see who the better man is. Let's leave our boys at home. And that made it so cool as well because it just felt like they just had respect for each other, not to get their boys involved. And they probably, obviously you don't know what happened, but I had a feeling that, they both went to their boys and said, look, whatever happens, I don't want you coming out like this is a wrestling match, And it made them feel like they had serious respect for each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. I just thought, I thought that was a great little niche because they've been involved for the last couple of weeks, the Elite and that other team, haven't they? Yeah. So I thought, it made them think, but it teased it a little bit, like they're going to come out and get involved. And like they didn't come out, and I thought that was the right move as well.
Yeah. And look, mate, I always know when
that move that Kenny done as well, when he put the top of the table on top of him and done the kick, that was when he put all the pressure. He half kicked it, didn't he? Sort of done the Coup de Ra, didn't he? Like Finn Balor's move into it. I
always know when I'm watching a match that I'm really into, and I'm engrossed in, because I find myself, without even realising it, I'm actually out of my seat. I'm out of my chair in the living room, and it makes me stand up. I'll tell you what got me was the amount of times, Deano, that he got him in the one-winged angel, and you thought, right, this is it. Kenny's just hit him with a couple of knees, and he's going to finish him off. And every time he got him up and he went to hit that move, somehow fucking Zack Sabre Jr. turned it into a pinfall. Like, he countered it in midair and
He
he
made
rolled him and he
kept going
he
after
just
his
kept doing it again. But the one time that he then did hit it, when he finally hit the One Wing Angel, you knew that was it. But mate, the amount of attempts that it took.
He kept working on the arm, didn't he, to
Wow.
sort of take away the One Wing Angel, didn't he, as well? He's a very calculated thing. And I think Nigel McGuinness said he's not a student of the game, he's a professor of the game. And I thought that was a great line. Yeah.
Look, so that was 2 matches in, mate, and I've given the first one a 5-star, and I'm looking at the second one and going, I think it's a 6-star match, mate. I honestly do.
All right, Meltzer. You know what
I'm telling you. I haven't seen what Meltzer's giving it, but I'll be very surprised if he doesn't give that 6 stars.
No, he's definitely going to go there because he loves his Japan boys as well, doesn't he? Like, he's going to, you know what I mean? If it was in the Tokyo Dome, probably been 7 or 8 stars, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's here, like, you know, it was just unbelievable when you couldn't fault both matches.
And then, mate, it didn't slow down because the next match...
There was no Dan Housen coming out cursing people, was there, this way?
The next match, you've got Jon Moxley against Bandido.
Man.
And that one, right, you know that there's no interference, right, because it's continental rules. So there's no outside interference allowed. You know that is just a match where you're going one-on-one. And again, what a clash of styles, mate. You know, the Jon Moxley, you know, the brawler, the guy that the ground and pound kind of guy. And then you've got this Bandido who can do all of these high-flying technical moves. But you said, didn't you, how strong is this kid?
Oh, my God, some of the moves. There was one move where Moxie's not a little guy either, you know what I mean? He's built a brick shithouse, isn't he? And he's like, there's that move where he power bombed him. But the fucking elevation he got, threw him in the air for the power bomb, you know, it was just unbelievable. And it was like, there was other moves, you know, where he just does this one-armed thing, like where he just leaves it. He's just like, the geezer's, but he's not the biggest guy, is he? He's not like a bodybuilder character. I mean, he doesn't even look like he works out. Like, you know, obviously, like, he looks like there's all guys in the gym that do more endurance things than looking at them weights all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, and he's just like, he's doing the circuit training and stuff like that. But he's just got that natural strength, hasn't he? And
he's got a unique mix.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many luchadors over the years that have got that kind of scary strength.
I love his look as well, where he's got like the mask and the long hair.
The mask is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a cool mask.
It really is.
It's a cool mask, and he looked the part, didn't he, with the white gear.
While we're talking about the mask, mate, how about that? Like, he got busted open, didn't he?
Moxie's biting him, and fucking ripping the mask.
Just ripping at the mask and, like, trying to get the cut, and half of his mask was hanging off. And I thought...
It was such a good visual, wasn't it?
Brilliant. He had to wrestle the whole match.
But
also with not just having to worry about Moxley, but having to worry about, like, whether his face was, like, hidden.
Yeah, and then again, the commentary team, solid again, because they kept bringing it up to remind you, even if you were, like, sort of relaxing, you're forgetting, like, they're like, oh, by the way, he's got to cover his face. And so they kept bringing it back into the main fold in case you forgot, which was just, like the commentary team doing their job once again. But it's just like, he was just great. I think the match sold both of them great. It made this fucking Bandito, like, it gave him that extra element when you think he's a sighting wrestler, but what a tough bastard, because he was still carrying on with that gush. And, then Moxley, what a fucking dastardly heel he was being in that match. And he was doing that old school Terry Funk routine where he's just ruthless, the biting and the, that bit where that power driver on the steps, I think, did bust him open.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic. And, and then after the match as well, with the whole thing that he sort of, they still shook hands at the end, and as if to say, well, you know what? I fucking respect.
Yeah.
I respect you, mate. You know what I mean? So
Mox laid the title down as if to say, look, this is what this belt is all about. It's continental rules. It's always 1v1. It's always the best man wins. And he offered him a handshake. And am I right in thinking, I said, my brain's a little bit groggy because I watched so much. Mox choked him out, didn't he? Did Moxie choke him out?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I think he did. So Bandido didn't tap. He didn't give up. I think
he did choke him out.
He choked him out.
You're right.
He had him in that bulldog.
No, he did. Yeah.
And Mox was cranking it on. So again, it keeps Bandido really strong.
I loved after the match as well how Brody King come out, and he's such a nasty looking big bastard. But Mox just wasn't intimidated by him at all, and he didn't have the death rides how they do. And Mox was beating up himself, and he just sort of stared at him, didn't he, and then walked off. You know what I mean? I thought that was badass.
I fucking love John Moxley, mate. I think he's...
I know, but I'm beginning to... I just think Bandito, because as well, Bandito's so exciting to watch, and he's like, you know, I love his enthusiasm. He's still young, but he does all this luchador stuff, the power stuff. But now that's giving him another element, that match. That's going to do his character a world of good, because it's made him look like now a little tough bastard, you know what I mean? Like, which he needed.
Yeah. And look, and I think it's great that when he does tag with Brody, they're actually really good as a tag team as well. They've got really good chemistry
one day
as a tag team. But
one day there's going to be a big blow up. There's going to be a massive blow up of that. And it's going to be, I think Bandito is going to be a future world champ. I think Brody King's going to be a future world champ. And I think might happen next year, the year after. But I think this Brodito goes on for a while. Maybe has another title. And eventually, when they blow up and they go challenge each other for the title, wow, what a pay-per-view that's going to be.
Well, he's the Ring of Honor world champion. So I guess, like, technically, it's a world title, but it's not one of the ones
not that you will. I mean,
when we're talking about the history books,
sorry,
you're talking
guys.
about the big ones, isn't you?
Sorry, guys. I'm talking about the AEW world champion. Yeah. I'm thinking this is future AEW world champion. I know I'm not shitting over the Ring of Honor stuff, but I think Ring of Honor might have been bigger when it was his home promotion, but now it's just the B thing for AEW. You know, 10 years ago when it was, you know, it was what it was. It's probably a bigger deal, you know. But yeah, let us know, guys, what you think. Like, you think that'd be a fantastic match, wouldn't it? Like, we're eager to hear your comments.
Yeah. Moving on then, mate. As I said, we've had 3 matches, and they've all been absolute corkers. And then I think, I believe it might have been Pac against. I'm really, really sorry if you are a New Japan fan. You know, I'm not that familiar with their stars, but I know that this guy was the global heavyweight champion, and I know that he
looks interesting.
He wasn't a young guy. He'd been around. He had a story, Deano. He'd been around for about 10 years. He was one of these guys that, you know, his career had taken a while to kick off, but he's finally got like one of the top belts.
Pac was great in this match. I like Pac's storytelling when he kept saying, like, when he was going, come on, this is all you fucking got. Yeah. And you're supposed to be a big star and you're supposed to be a big deal. When he was like challenging him to hit him. And a few times the guy went in with the elbow and he smashed him with the elbow. And it sort of shocked Pac, but then he come back, went bang and hit him with a bigger elbow and he knocked him down 3 times. I thought that was, you know, that was great storytelling. But then eventually, when he did get a better Pac for a little bit and, you know, it was more believable, you know, it was great, you know, like, and that Pac's just fucking brilliant. We were talking earlier, we don't know how WWE let him go. Because the guy is just such a... I don't think he's going to be the world champion in AEW, but, you know, he's solid mid-carder, you know.
And I like what they've done with his look now. I like the fact
that
he's got that kind of singlet thing on now. He looks like he's now looking like a proper wrestler. Yeah, I mean, look, on paper, mate, when you looked at this match, this should not have been a match that you would look at and go, oh, do you know what? Like, this is a match when... you can kind of go, look, if I'm going to go and make a cup of tea, I'm going to go and make it while this match is on. But, like, I didn't, because it was so good what I was watching.
To be fair, I was always excited to watch it, because anything Pac does, I always like watching.
Yeah, but what I mean is the guy that he's facing, mate, neither one of us really knew who he was. Again, that just shows me how that when you've got two wrestlers that are so good at their craft, they can get that story across. It's the art form of wrestling, right? It's the telling the story, even if there isn't a backstory. It doesn't always need one. The story happens within the match. You don't need all the shithousery shenanigans and all the interruptions and all the so-and-so's going to come down and cost him. You don't always need that. Sometimes it's just the fucking pure wrestling tells its own story. One guy, Pac, he's a veteran. He's still as good as he's ever been. And, you know, one of Japanese current best coming over to fight what AEW would consider to be one of their best in terms of a workhorse wrestler. You know, reliable. Pac can have a great match with anyone. That's the type of wrestler he is. Doesn't matter who you are. He can have a great match when he turns it on.
This is what I like Forbidden Door. It's probably my... You know, apart from All In, and it's probably my favourite AEW pay-per-view. Just for the fact I've enjoyed it. I've seen all of them, and it's just like all 5 of them now. And it's like, I think it's so exciting because it's like, for us people, you know, that don't really watch, you know, the Mexican stuff and the Japanese stuff, you know, so we ain't got enough time. I wish I did, you know what I mean? And maybe one day we'll do this full time and I'll watch it all, you know what I mean? But it's like, I enjoy watching it because it's such a good idea from TK, because it's like, you know, it's just like, it's exciting to see these talent I've never seen before. Like, you know, I was so happy I got a chance to watch this Unbound Co and Sky team and this guy in with Pac, and like, you know, I'm loving Takeshita. How great was he in a match? Like, I like seeing it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it gives me a different element of shit I don't watch on a weekly basis. You know, it's like, you know, it's exciting for me.
Yeah. So the next match, I think, again, was you know, it was an inter-promotional match. I think it was Tekla, the AEW Women's World Champion, facing Starlight Kid, who is from Stardom. Tekla used to be in Stardom. Tekla was fired from Stardom. They did build this into a bit of a storyline where the president of Stardom is sitting ringside, you know, and she, like, he looks shit scared of Tekla because she's just a fucking nutter. She comes across as, mate, she's just like, she's a loose cannon.
They sold it well as well, didn't they? Where it's sort of like this woman against her, she's like, you know, like loves Stardom, and it's like, you know,
and also
she's been disrespecting Stardom
before.
She's been disrespecting Stardom, Tekla, and you know, it's like she's standing up for the company she loves. You know, it's like, it was a great storyline. Again, announcers selling it big again. Can't keep saying, and I keep going on about it, but it was so important to me. Like, you know, especially this is when the announcers have to be on point, because these matches that, you know, we don't really know too much about some of these Japanese stars. They're telling us why we should be interested in. They're telling us this, and that's why the commentary team was so important in this. Important every week, but they're particularly important in this pay-per-view.
Tony Khan apparently said in an interview midweek, someone asked him a question about the 4 pillars. Now, remember, we've spoken about the 4 pillars, hadn't we, a couple of weeks ago when we was talking about Sammy Guevara. Like, you know, forgetting that he was one of the 4 pillars. So MJF, Sammy Guevara,
and Jungle Jack
Darby
Perry.
Allin, Jungle Jack Perry, right? And they said to him, if you had to pick a current 4 pillars, right, of AEW now, like, who would be your 4 pillars? And he said, the Jet Kevin Knight.
Because it's probably when he does the pillars, he's probably talking about up and coming talent rather than like. But I don't know. To me, that don't really make much sense, because a pillar's saying to hold something up, isn't it? So I don't know. Like, for me, like the original pillars of AEW would have been Chris Jericho, Hangman, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's obviously he's picking up young talent.
I think what he was getting at was like that these are going to be the stars that are going to hold it together for the next 5 years. So he picked the Jet Kevin Knight. Oh my God, the other one's gone out of my head. I'll have to come back to the other one. But he also picked Tekla, and he picked Mercedes Moné. So he picked 2 female wrestlers and he picked 2 male wrestlers. It was Carl Fletcher. The Jet Kevin Knight, Carl Fletcher, Mercedes Moné, and Tekla, right? Now, at the time of it was interesting because I thought this was Tekla's best match that I've seen, right? That she pulled this out the bag. I thought her character work in this was absolutely brilliant, but I just thought technically she was great, you know, and she ended up getting the win. And even afterwards, mate, she took the mask off of this Starlight Kid and she spat in it, right? And then not only did she spit in the mask, she then went over to the president of Stardom Wrestling, and then rubbed it in his face. And I just thought, that is like, you don't get many female heel characters that are that kind of like psychotic. I just thought I thought it was brilliant. And I can see, like, the future with the, you know, once Tony Storm comes back, I can see there being a massive rivalry between them two.
Yeah, because Tony Storm's a bit unhinged in a different way, isn't she? So I think there's 2 unhinged people. She's a bit mad, isn't she? And
I think that could be, there's some crazy shit.
God, I can't wait for my Tony to come back. I miss her so much. She's the best. She's my favourite. I've got to say, she's probably my favourite women wrestler ever. I'll just say about her. It's just so, I just can't wait. Like, no offense to the female wrestlers, there's never really been a woman wrestler where every week I just can't wait to watch her matches, hear her promos. you know,
it's all the innuendo she drops.
oh,
in
it's
that.
great.
Just, like,
She's
you
so
can't help but
smart.
laugh, can you?
She's such a good character in it. You know what I mean? She ain't bad to look at either, is she? You know what I mean? I think she'd be a great wife as well. I think she just seems like she'd be a right laugh. You know what I mean? She'd like, you know, she'd be a lot of fun to be around. You know, like, but I know fucking Juice Robinson's beat me to it. I reckon. So
he's
you know, it's fine.
Isn't he?
He's fine. He's a little bit taller than me. He's a little bit more better shape than me. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I can live with it. You know what I mean? Like,
right, mate. What was next? As I say, I'm struggling with recall now because was it
the Dogs and Cage and Co?
Oh, it could well have been. Do you know what? I almost forgot about that one.
Fucking what a match! And I love this David Finlay. And I just
that Clark Connors is good.
Clark Connors
mate.
good, but I'm just excited about David Finlay. Obviously, because I was a big fan of Finlay growing up, and it's like, you know, is his son in it, and like, I don't know. He looks like, you know what he looks like. You know, it reminds me of the you know, did you watch Gangs of London?
Yes.
Do you know the Irish character in it? So you got like the Irish gang.
And he had the notches. And
he had the fucking. He had what was he called? William Wallace, wasn't it? Sean Wallace. It was his uncle, wasn't it? He was like, you know, later on, he's like the Irish gangster.
Do you know what? You know, when you said Gangs of London, I went Gangs of New York.
Oh, Gangs of New York, yeah.
No, I know what you mean now.
He was the uncle, and he was the psychotic one. He was the killer, and he was a bit unhinged to be in the family. He reminds me of that, like an Irish gangster sort of thing. And you know, he's got the shillelagh, and he just fucking like, you know, he just told you. Like, he just looks like he's got a cool look to him, and when he comes out, and he looks like. Yeah, he looks like he's sort of got this like gypsy in him, you know what I mean? Where he like loves a fight, and you know what I mean? And he's just like, you know, and I don't know, he's just, he looks like an Irish sort of gangster, you know. Like, I just think he's a very cool character, and I love the way they looked in this match because they were such a fucking dastardly heel team, weren't they? Like, it was to the fact where like some of the stuff they were doing, you know, and what I love is we didn't mention it the other week. I missed the hot tag. How much the hot tag used to mean wrestling. And they really sold the hot tag in this match, didn't they? Where he kept getting over to me. They kicked the fucking living shit out of Christian Cage, didn't they? And they worked him over. And like, you kept thinking, and Edge's like, at a fucking point, come on. And, you know, building the crowd up, and he's going in for and then like they kept fucking stopping him every second on near the thing. Yeah. There was even that point where like, he was getting his fucking hand crushed under the steel steps.
Yes, and
that looked brutal. And then like, you know, like saying an Irish gangster would do that they owed money to, or saying, you know, the guy just torturing the guy. And it was like the point where, you know, Edge comes round and he fucking takes out Clark, what's his name? Christian Clark? Clark Connors. And they take him out, and then like he takes out the other one, and he runs back over to the ring apron. He's like, right, sprints over, and he's back. He's like, he threw Christian in the cage back in the ring first, didn't he? And then he sprints over, and he's like, come on. And you think, well, he's got to get there this time. He just took, but still, Christian's so beaten up. He took so long to get there. Then the one of them gets back in the ring again and stops him and starts beating on him again. I just thought it was such great storytelling.
Just kept teasing it.
I love
look at the interaction that it got from that crowd, though, mate. I mean, don't forget that crowd was already starting to sort of feel it a little bit because they've seen so many good matches already. But they've just got this knack. They know. I mean, I guess that's the masterful thing of.
You know what was probably great.
Cage,
you know what was probably great though. It's like as good as the matches were, and you'd think you'd get bored with just so many long wrestling matches. All the matches were different. You had a high flying sort of like technical ability match in the tag match, in the triple threat tag match, and then you had just a sheer technical wrestling match, masterclass, and then you got this nasty fucking like heels, you know, going at Edge and Christian, these like, you know, you like just dastardly moves. It was like there was a lot of different wrestling going on, weren't there?
Yeah.
But it was that point, and what I loved as well is the double spear when that Clark Connors was eggy, like coming Edge, and he's doing Edge's thing where Edge sits in the corner, he's like, come on, come up, and he's just like getting in the zone, and he started doing Edge's thing, and Edge sort of looks at him, well, this is my move, and they sort of run into each other and on the double spear, didn't they? I love that bit as well. I know, but yeah,
it was a cool tag match. Again, like just like tag team wrestling used to be, it just had that feel. You know, we was talking about it the other week, weren't we, about actual tag teams just giving that feel like these two guys, you know, just work seamlessly together, and they, you know, they've been together all these years ago, but, you know, obviously Edge and Christian have only recently reformed, but they still know each other so well that
you know
it just comes across, you know, that they'll do anything for each other.
Do you know what's really cool as well? Because I noticed it as well last night. Obviously, I wasn't watching it because I was watching that, but they had the TNA Slammiversary on. So now it's a fact that the Hardys are the TNA World Tag Team Champions, and Edge and Christian are the AEW World Tag Team Champions. I think the Hardys and the Edge and Christian in 2026 are both tag world champs, which is unbelievable.
Who would have thought that?
You know.
And look, and again, the most important thing is that they've still got the belts, so it keeps.
We're still teasing the ones
alive. We still think I think it's going to be TLC or whatever Tony Khan wants to call it, but it will always is TLC for me. Tables, ladders.
It's got to happen. But before we move on, what a great ending also as well, with the Bang Bang Gang coming out and Switchblade come out, and he got such a reaction. He looks like, I don't know too much about him. He looks like a great wrestler because I had that sort of year. But you know what I'm loving as well is that I'm really excited because the Dogs got elevated in this by having that rivalry with Edge and Christian the last few weeks, and now obviously Edge and Christian are going to move on to the Bucks and FTR, coming up, and it gives the Dogs a great storyline with this Bang Bang Gang. So, they're still keeping the Dogs, they're not going to be challenging for the titles for a while, but they're still going to be like in people's memories because they're going to have some great matches and great storylines with the Bang Bang Gang now. So I like that, the way they elevated that, you know what I mean? And you know what was great? Christian, he helped him out and Ed shook his hand, and Christian just did not look interested, did he? He's like, fucking, what are you doing here, didn't he? Like, just that he just don't trust people anymore, does he, Christian?
It got me, mate. Again, I was out my chair at this point because when the lights went out, in my brain,
you thought you were AJ,
well, because like when the lights go out, you normally go through like this little highlight reel in your head, didn't you? Of like, who could it be? Like, so now, whenever the lights go out in AEW, I tend to associate it more with like a Sting or someone like that in a Darby Allin match. You think Sting's, but I thought, well, that ain't gonna be Sting with Edge and Christian. So, but I immediately thought, well, who could it be for Edge and Christian? Yeah, maybe.
I thought
you know what?
It went through my mind for a split second. And I was like, nah.
This must have been when you stopped watching it, mate, right?
Yeah.
So, I think Edge was having a match with, it might have been Malachi Black. There was a cage match, right? And Malachi Black, like the story going into this was that Malachi Black had said to him that you've become soft, basically. Like you've become this Edge that's like this sort of, just entertaining the crowd. You've lost your dark side. So Edge sort of went back to almost being like that brood Edge. He came out in the old style jacket that he used to wear, like the really old leather one. So he came out in that. And in the middle of this cage match, Gangrel actually came through the ring.
I do remember that. Yeah, I say that. Yeah.
So yeah, little things like that. I never know whether you watched them or whether that was during
I think to be honest with you, even though I tapped out a lot of like the weekly watching, I still see all the pay-per-views and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, so when the lights go out here, I'm thinking, well, who could it be? And then, as soon as I hear their entrance is cool, right? The Bang Bang, I don't care what you say. I love that little bit. The music comes on really quiet, and then the spotlight just comes on them, and they're sort of spinning round, didn't they? They're rotating slowly, and then all of a sudden, it's like goes full on. But then I kind of thought, well, I know like they've had a little bit of a thing with the Dogs, but I was kind of thinking like, I don't know whether it warrants. That.
That's why the commentary chain doing his thing again, because David Finlay took him out and took his leadership from the Bullet Gang in Japan, and obviously it probably meant a lot as well, because obviously because they obviously
I'm talking about
in
before we even see Switchblade. I'm talking about you. So the spotlight is on the four of them because that is a little bit of it's a distraction, isn't it? So the way that they worked it is that the spotlight was on Juice Robinson and I think it's Ace Austin and the Guns. And what I'm saying is when I saw those four, I was thinking, well, what do we really need this? It's been a good match, and then all of a sudden it clicked that this was a setup for Switchblade, and I'm out of my chair. I'm like, fucking Switchblade's back. Now, if you haven't seen much of him, mate, I'm telling you, this is another guy that can go. He is chiseled. He technically is fantastic. He's just got this sort of swagger about him, the way that he talks. Because he's from New Zealand, so he's got that accent. Mate, he's another fucking another top star that's just come back. And They might not throw him in there straight away, but look, before he got injured, mate, he was beating Hangman Page. You know, he had 2 victories in a row over Hangman Page, and I think that they had big plans for him. I remember when he got injured, it was in an opening round of the Owen Hart tournament last year, which was a bit earlier because do you remember remember All in Texas was in the July, so they had to get the Owen Hart tournament done a little bit earlier to build up for the Hangman winning it and then Hangman having the title shot against Mox. He was fighting the Jet, Kevin Knight, right, in a match, and he got injured in that match. So I'm wondering whether he goes straight after that belt. Now the Jet's been on this trajectory since then. He's been fucking non-stop. He's just gone up and up and up. And all this time, Switchblade has been out of the picture because he's been injured. But I don't believe that the Jet would have ever won that match against Switchblade. He got injured in the match and they made a call in the match to give Kevin Knight the victory. So rather than stop it as like an injury, you could see that the referee was just like, oh, I'll do this. And then Kevin Knight got a freak win and they dressed it up. He could go straight into a feud with the Don Callis family and like, you know, you put me out for over a year.
I like that because he got the Bang Bang Gang backing him up. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds good. That sounds like a good idea. Putting him against
quality, mate.
Imagine him having a great match with someone like Carl Fletcher or something like that, or the Jet.
Oh, yes.
Could be the Jet, couldn't it? Like, it'd be great.
There's some great matches there again,
maybe
mate.
Switchblade against the Jet for the TNT title sounds like a good pay-per-view match for me.
But yeah, as I say, what a great wrestler to get straight back in, and adds to what is already a stacked roster of talent. I mean, there's just talent everywhere you look. What followed on from that? I think maybe from that, did we not get the final of the women's Owen Hart?
Yeah.
Might have been Mercedes Moné versus Maya Wilde.
I think actually, like, you know, we'll talk about this first, but I hate to be that stickler, but I think we had the cage match and then we had Mercedes Moné. But
maybe.
But let's talk about that first. Let's talk about Mercedes Moné first.
Yeah. Now, again, so on paper, this is a match where I'm going, look, Mercedes Moné should be getting this victory quite easily. You know, Maya Wilde is a relatively new wrestler that they've brought to the roster. She's very young. You know, she's had a real life tragedy in that her brother had passed away, and they really kind of played on this as being that's her fuel. Right, this is her fuel for this little run that she's been going on. You know, that where she's managed to beat Sky Blue. Caught me by surprise because I remember we sat there and watched that here, didn't we? And I was like, well, fuck me, I know who's winning this. This is Sky Blue. Should we just skip it? Well, I remember we skipped to the end, and that Maya Wilde had her arm raised, and I was like, oh fuck, we got that wrong. And then there's no way I gave her the win over Athena either.
She made me a bit of a believer, to be honest. It was great.
She absolutely.
There's that move she done. I said where she done the back suplex over the shoulder, and then she backflipped into it, picked her up again. She done it 3 times. Then the 3rd time, she threw her out of the ring. Yeah, that was fantastic.
And look, she's working again with one of the top 5 women's wrestlers on the planet, which helps, right? Because Mercedes Moné, again, she can't have a bad match. It's impossible to have a bad match with Mercedes. She's too good. And I thought that she really, really showcased perhaps what she's got to offer. And who knows, maybe it started off as a, look, you've had a real life tragedy and, you know, we're going to kind of be kind to you. We'll give you like this little bit of TV time. And who knows, this might just turn into something like, well, actually, this kid's really got it. You know, it's forced her out of her comfort zone. This kid's really got it. And she could be the next big thing on the women's roster. But yeah, a fantastic match. Again, Mercedes couldn't finish her off, could she? She just kept fucking coming back.
Yeah, it was great.
And in the end, she got her in a statement maker, and then she really properly wrenched her right back. You know, she like her back was almost like a right angle. And in the end, you know, she had to tap out, and Mercedes gets the victory, and she gets to challenge for the championship at Wembley. So will it be
match.
Mercedes Tekla? I'm going to be interested to see how they go with that, because Tekla is 100% a heel, but Mercedes is also 100% a heel at the minute. She hasn't even, since she's come back, she hasn't even she's not tried to play on this thing of like, oh, I've been away for a while and I'll come back and be really friendly. She's been quite nasty since she's come back. So that's quite unusual, isn't it, for a heel versus heel main event at a big pay-per-view like Wembley. But again, we've got another pay-per-view in between, haven't we? So something could happen. Someone could win the belt off of Tekla in the meantime. Could it be our girl Tony? With making a triumphant return.
I hope so.
And you get Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné too.
I think that's a good match because, they haven't overdone that, have they? They've only had one match before, which Tony got to win, but, Mercedes was on such this big title run thing where she was like Mercedes, all the belts, weren't she? And it's like, she definitely looked strong still at the end of the match because she had all the titles. So, I reckon he'll get excited for number 2 of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the cage match. We've got to talk about.
The cage match. Right, first of all,
just before,
how fucking sick did the cage look?
Yeah, it was great.
I've never seen a cage in a wrestling match circular like that come down. It sort of gave you that feeling of like Elimination Chamber, but with a cage, like almost like a Hell in a Cell cage. Yeah, it just looked. It didn't look sick.
It made as well. It didn't look all the guys in there. You had 12 guys in there. They didn't look too cramped, did they? And they done it well. The cameras team done well. But just before it happened, how good was Don Kelly? They're all coming out in the t-shirts. So I want a t-shirt now as well. And you were, but they both. He come out and he done the Hulk Hogan rip, didn't he, like that? And it's like, it's just like. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
We love Don Perry on the way. We love him.
He is absolutely brilliant.
And I don't know the name. Is that Shane Walker in it? He's obviously the announcer for the Japan promotion. Got him out to see you. And look, you're a big guy, but I'm fucking dangerous. Get out of the seat. And it's just such a dastardly heel thing.
Got rid of him, didn't he? With commentary.
And how good was the match? Some of the spots in it.
It was so well put together.
It was always going to be, wasn't it? I mean, you had Darby Allin in there. You knew he was going to do some big stuff.
It was even little things, mate, that I didn't even think about the backpacks. We know that the conglomeration, right? Orange Cassidy and Roddy Strong and I nearly said Carl Fletcher, but Kyle O'Reilly. They've had the backpacks as part of their little gimmick for a while. And then Orange just mentioned, just off the cuff on Dynamite, like, oh yeah, I'm going to make sure that everyone gets a backpack. Takeshka's going to get a backpack, Darby's going to get a backpack, and Mark Briscoe's going to get a backpack. I never thought for a second that it would actually play into the match. I just thought that was absolutely fucking genius that they've all come down, because they would. Oh, that's what it was. They said, well, we're going to have our belts in our backpack. And I think Takesha's going to put his belt in his backpack. And they were like, oh, I don't know what Mark's going to put in his backpack. But it was just a throwaway comment. Mate, it was just genius that they all came down with some sort of different weapon in the backpack. I just thought it was great. And
explosive backpack as well.
But the one that got me was fucking Kyle O'Reilly pulls out an old school original Nintendo out the backpack, right, with the controllers, and and just before he's about to hit him on he gets a cartridge out and he blows it.
Yeah.
And blows the cartridge, because that's what you had to do then. In it goes. Bang! Someone gets hit. I mean, them things were weighty back then as well. That was like getting hit by a brick.
Yeah,
and they're like using the controllers as nunchucks, and I just thought it was just stupid, but it was brilliant. It had little spots like that.
That bump, the Jet done though, with the backpack exploded and he fell into the thing.
Yeah.
That was fucking great.
Yeah, Darby just pinned his one on, didn't he? Because he climbed into the cage. And I remember seeing his backpack hanging up there, and I was like, I wonder what Darby's got. I was thinking baseball bat, like, Sting style baseball bat.
Explosives was cool.
But yeah, that completely caught me off guard, the exploding backpack. Mark Briscoe had tacks in his, didn't he? Mate, that Darby Allin face first plant into the tacks. I've seen loads of people
Jesus
go.
sick, man.
Seen
The
loads
geezer's
of people
sick.
go back first.
I really
first.
am getting a bigger fan of him now, and I didn't get him, but he is a sick motherfucker, and he like that. You know what I mean? Some of the shit he does.
Crazy.
He makes Cactus Jack look normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just unbelievable. Like,
I thought that match just had everything, mate. It had serious elements of it. It had goofy elements. And like I said, it had those dangerous spots. It had the story of MJF and Andrade. You know how they've built this up over months and months. That Andrade wants his title shot. He's the only one that hasn't been given one. Everyone else has had a shot. Don keeps saying to him, "Oh, you'll get your time. You get your time." And in the end, he's just fucking had enough, innit? He just has enough.
I loved it. He took the shirt off, didn't he? Well, maybe he could have given it to us, one of us, before he got rid of it. Probably he's a bit so small for me, but then he rips the shirt and he has the fucked on, doesn't he? Fuck it. It's just great.
Good as that. But even when he done the turn, mate, I thought it was brilliant because MJF was saying to him, like, you hold him. I can't remember who it was. Was it Briscoe that was down? I think it was Briscoe that was down and he was bleeding when he was out.
Because they mentioned in the commentary team, what's the other guy's name?
The big guy,
yeah.
Jake Doyle.
They mentioned that he was the MVP of the MJF team and he had done the best in the match. He was holding him up and he's like,
no
right.
one could take him down, could they?
And he was holding him up and he's like, right, go on, MJF, you do him. So MJF fucking... which we're used to again, which is playing into again this MJF thing where it's his own fucking arrogance that fucks him up sometimes. He's hit him with a dynamite ring and he could have won the match, but he wanted to. He wanted to
order Andrade around, didn't he? He wanted to feel that control over Andrade, and he was like, "No, you hold him." And Andrade's like, "No, I'm not doing it. You hold him." And he just kept saying, "You hold him," and kept pushing him. And then Andrade got him, didn't he? And then he hits, mate. I love that move that he does. It's like that sort of spinning. It's like a kick elbow in one move, isn't it? I love that move. I've got to look up what he calls it. It's a fantastic move. And it was just we all knew it was coming. We could see that it was brewing up, wasn't it?
And then he's like, Jake Doyle's going, "What are you doing, man?" Because he's normally like he's in his group, and he fucking give him the low blow, didn't he? Like that. It was just great.
And look, Mark, we said that this what we pitched the story, didn't we? Either way for this, we pitched the story with MJF's team winning, and we pitched the story with Briscoe's team winning. Briscoe got the win, and I love the fact that
we even predicted that Doyle was going to take the pin, didn't we?
Yeah,
we did say that.
Yeah, we thought he would be.
He's in the match to take the pin, and we predicted that, didn't we? Even though he did look really solid in the match.
Yeah. Straight away, mate. Mark Briscoe's come out. I'm not hanging around. Dynamite World Championship match. I want my match straight away. So, MJF, again, he's going to get caught a little bit off guard, a little bit unprepared for this. I love that. No pissing about, no hanging around, because that plays into Mark Briscoe's character. That is exactly what he would do. That's exactly what a man like that would do. You've been waiting all your life for this shot, right? Why drag it out for another 4 weeks? Fuck it, go for it. It hit. Strike while the iron's hot. Get MJF while he's down. So yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see what happens on Dynamite, mate. To see how that pans out, and again who gets involved, because now you've got Andrade in this mix with him, and Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight never lost a match, but he wanted a title shot against MJF as well. He still considers him, and especially the way that Don Callis is bigging him up, he wants to be Jet 2 belts, doesn't he? So he's still going to be in the mix. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to see where it goes. Really can't wait to see where it goes.
There's a lot to happen.
And again, I can't give that. I'm going. I think it's better than a 4-star match. I'm not sure whether it's a 5-star match because of the goofy spots that were in here, but it's got to be 4.5 stars, isn't it? It's got to be 4.5 stars.
Yeah, it's got to be. It was solid.
Right, okay, so then we're coming on to the big one now. I had a feeling that the show would end on this one. I'm glad it did. I'm glad that this was the main event. Will Ospreay versus Swerve. I loved their promo that they had on Dynamite. Thought that was fantastic when they They were going at each other and they didn't hold back. Swerve has said to him, you've changed, Will. But also, I like what Swerve said about what happens when me and you will get in the ring, that we raise the bar. Do you know what I mean? We show people what pro wrestling is. And I think he says something like, and we show people what pro wrestling's gonna be. As if to say, like, we set the standard now for how far we can take this. And mate, I've got to say, look, I've always said that my favorite match of all time, like for any wrestling match, my very, very favorite match of all time, which I don't know whether it will ever be beat, but it is Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25, the first match that they had. I struggled to see, and I remember I was watching that live. And I always get this feeling that when you're watching a live match, that it's just different somehow. As Sky Sports says, it's only live once, right? And you just get this feeling that when you're watching it in real time and you're watching it play out, it just feels different.
100%.
I struggle to think of any other WWE or any other AEW match that matches this match that these two put on.
It was solid. It had everything.
Mate, solid. It was fucking unreal. It was just these two. Again, Triple H must be looking at Swerve and going, fuck, we had him. And the competition's got him, and look what the competition's done with him. These two were unbelievable. The stuff that they did, even when they were like, when the match started off like fucking million miles an hour, they were just going at it, bang, hitting moves. And then even like when the pace of it slowed down, then you told the story of like one of them working over the other. Will got busted open really early, didn't he?
He was using the Moxie training when he was like, it was the point. He even made him tap out. He was outside the ring, didn't he? Like that. I thought that was great story. That he was manipulating the arm, and he put the arm bar on him, and he made him tap out.
And then how far did he take it when with how badly Swerve got busted open, mate? I don't remember seeing a bleed like that.
It's the only one I remember, which was by accident, and he nearly died. Eddie Guerrero against JBL.
Yeah, I knew you was going to say it.
In the bull rope match.
I knew you was going to say it.
But that was obviously Eddie. Eddie had to go to hospital that night. That was an accident.
That was with chair shot. That was with a chair shot before the chair shot was banned. So that was when a chair shot was a chair shot, mate. When that was full on connected to the head. And he took a chair to the head, and like, obviously, they did the cut as well. He went far too deep. Swerve was fucking bleeding pools of blood.
Crimson Mask was golden stone, he used to say back in the day.
Mate, it was a crimson ring. It was a crimson outside.
There was a point what got me when
slipping on the blood.
When the bit got me when he was on the stairs. And he's gone to put he's gone to put Swerve in the Styles class. And there's the bit where he jumped when he went forward and done the Styles class. And the bottom of Ospreay's shoes were red. You know what I mean? Whereas all the blood, he's just like the blood's bled out because he had his head on the steps.
Yeah. And
it's bleeding out and he's stepping in it. And they were red, like he'd been painted the bottom of his shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
But it was just the way that they slowed it down and then they sped it up. Like they both got this mad adrenaline rush at one point. I remember 2 kickouts that both happened on one that were just completely out of the blue. Someone hit their best move and it was like, bang, Ospreay got up on one and smashed him with a hidden blade. And you thought, right, that here comes the pin then. And then Swerve kicks out on one. And then all of a sudden they're coming towards the end of it, aren't they? And they both back up in the corner. They're having their little breather. They're both backing up in the corner and they're facing each other. And they're just like, their eyes are locked, but you can tell they're spent.
Yeah.
They both look fucked.
Some of the moves, yeah. Well, there's one move where, he hit that kick he does, Swerve. He just hit it off the steps. Yeah. You just heard it. And it was like the last call, wasn't it? The last call. And it's just like, it's just like unbelievable. And like the hidden blades in this, one after the other. And then there's the bit where he done the buckshot hidden blade, where it's like a little bit of hangman influence on it. And it was just, just fantastic. Oh,
but you know, he looked in trouble, didn't he, Ospreay? And he needed, like, Moxley came down. The whole of the Death Riders came down. They didn't get involved in the match, but they were there.
You didn't hate that as well.
No,
you didn't hate that as well because it wasn't such a heel move. Because Nana got involved so much in the match. There was a bit that I thought was great. We haven't spoke about that. He done him with a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
because the other day, MJF said, "Oh, he makes great. You know, keep him around. He makes great coffee." So it's still playing into that, and it's weird. Like, and then like Nana got involved when he was gonna put him through a table, and then Nana got like grabbed him by that. You know, so you didn't hate that the Death Riders come down. There's a bit where Claudio run him off, wasn't it? Yeah. And it was just great. And it was just Moxley being that coach again. We just keep talking about.
It was that reaction part for me where Ospreay just locks eyes with Moxley, and Moxley's just staring at him as if to say, like, "Come on." Like, you know, Moxley weren't like banging on the mat and stuff. Everyone else.
Mickey from Rocky again.
He just can
get up your bum.
Yeah,
get up your bum.
It was that serious look of Mox as if to like, this is what I've been trying to teach you. You've got to this is where you've got to dig in. And you've got to forget about the pain, and you've got to forget about everything. And then Ospreay was just like, he looked like a beast, mate. When he was tensing up at that bit, like before he went into the like the finishers. But yeah, and then he just hit him with some brutal moves, didn't he? He hit him, like you said, that the buckshot, hidden blade. There was a paradigm shift. Death Rider, so he used two of Mox's Stormbreaker, and then he finished him off with a Tiger
Which
Driver,
I didn't realise he used it. They don't use a lot.
He don't use a lot because it ties into that storyline that when he used it on Bryan Danielson, he really fucked his neck, and he said that he wasn't going to use that again, and he stopped using it for months. And the one person that he did bring it back on, because he hated him so much, was MJF. And I'm not sure that he's used that move since then. I don't think he's used it since he beat MJF with it at Wembley 2 years ago. So it's a move that he saves it for a very, very rare occasion. But again, that's the story, isn't it? That's the Moxley Death Rider story, that you have to go to the dark place. You have to go to that place. If you want to win, you've got to go there, and you've got to do whatever you've got to do, the same as Moxley does when he chokes people out. You've got to do what you've got to do to win. That's the Death Rider way. Mate, what a fucking unbelievable banger of a match. Once I've calmed down, I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it again from start.
What's that going to be in about a year or so?
No.
You calm down.
I can't wait. I'll be watching it again tomorrow. I've got to watch it again because I just think it was one of the best matches that I've ever seen. And at the minute, in the state of mind that I'm in, I can only really think of one match that betters it. The only match I can think of at the minute that betters it is Shawn Michaels Undertaker. I might feel differently in a couple of days' time, but at the minute.
What about Mick Foley against Triple H Street Fight? I mean, it was
good, but it's, mate, one on the level of this. This was groundbreaking. This is a groundbreaking match. This was stuff that we've never seen before. This was like the sequences that they put together. Like there was one bit where Ospreay, like, do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like watching The Matrix, where you was just watching like AI fucking kung fu moves. Like, I can't believe that wasn't like artificial in any way. I can't believe that was some of that stuff was done by two guys in a wrestling ring, and they made it look that good. It honestly, you watch it back as well. I'm telling you, there is bits in that you will pick up the second time round and go, yeah, fuck me, I've never seen that before. I've never seen two guys go at that pace and pull off the moves that they did with no errors. Mate, phenomenal match. And I reckon, I believe that Meltzer's only ever given 7 stars to one match, and I think that was Omega versus.
I don't know. You might have done a few more, but I don't know.
Think?
I'll have to look it up.
Again, if I'm wrong, I'm not 100% sure here.
The only reason I'm thinking that is I used to watch a lot of other podcasts where they talk about Meltzer's ratings a lot, so I remember.
Well, I'm going to put it out there without knowing, mate. I'm going to put it out there that I think that this will get a 7-star rating.
I don't disbelieve it.
And it'd be just be interested. That's just how I feel about it, mate. I could be completely I could be way off. There might be people caning it, saying that it was too long or whatever. It was, but that's just how I feel at the minute. I just thought it was a phenomenal match, and I can't fucking wait for Wembley. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to that so much. And do you know what? We might even go up to Glasgow on the Wednesday.
I think we're going to.
We're very tempted. I'm going to check the flights out again tomorrow, and if they're still really cheap, I think we might have to just do a budget, one night stay in Glasgow and go and watch the go home show of Dynamite before Wembley. And yeah, like I can't get enough of AEW at the minute. I feel like this promotion is fantastic. It's everything that I wanted it to become. It's still got its haters, but you know what? I don't give a fuck about the haters.
Bro.
I don't care what the haters put. In fact, what I would say is that if you disagree with anything that we say about AEW, like everyone's entitled to their opinion, but if you're going to put something in a comment, just give it a bit of context. You know, just say, look, I didn't like it because, and just back it up with a reason. Like what I can't stand is when people put comments about stuff and they just go, oh yeah, no, AEW is a joke. Yeah, no, AEW is a waste of time. And that's it. And that's all they put. There's no because, there's no backing it up. And I just think, well, what's your point then? Clearly you don't watch it. That's what my opinion is that if that's how you feel about it, if you just think that it's a joke program, you've never fucking watched it, because you cannot overlook the art form of some of these matches, right? And how unbelievably good they are. You just can't. It's incredible stuff. Mate, look, who knows? In a year's time, we could be talking about this as being a serious ratings war. If they carry on with this kind of momentum for another 12 months and they keep going on this sort of slippery slope where they're losing a few people, we could have a serious, like, compared to shows having to be at their best every week because the other one, you know, WWE are maybe finally worried about AEW. I'd love to see it. Wouldn't you love to see another proper?
Yeah, of course. War? Yeah, I mean, like competition, healthy competition is good for anyone, isn't it? I don't think just wrestling. Like, I think like it just brings the best out of people. You know what I mean? So I think there's always room for competition, definitely in wrestling.
Right. Well, Deano, I'm afraid I'm exhausted, mate.
I'm exhausted too.
I've loved it. Sleep. I wouldn't change it for the world, but I am exhausted. So we are going to have to wrap this up. We've got Monday Night Raw.
I'm not saying I'm going to stop watching wrestling, just maybe for 24 hours. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It just comes thick and fast, isn't it? We've got Monday Night Raw to watch. Probably
Dynamite. How can we miss Dynamite on Wednesday with the world title match?
Then soon after that, so we've got more wrestling to watch. We just need a 24-hour breather, and then we'll be back making notes and making podcasts for you.
Hopefully, making all you guys happy. That's what the main thing is.
If you've liked the podcast, please subscribe. Please give us a like. Please put in some comments. Again, if you think I'm talking utter shit about Swerve and Ospreay being the second best match of all time,
tell us the match.
Tell me one.
I'm sure
Tell me one that's better, because I might agree with you.
The matches okay, I'm going to go on a tangent here. I mean, obviously, well before my time, but I've gone back and watched Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against Ric Flair. You know, them matches, that trilogy is just unbelievable. And that's a different kind. That's such a talented wrestling match. So you compare that because that's fucking brilliant, especially the Chicago one and that. Like, that's fucking Ric Flair, best of all time, and Ricky Steamboat, or the Terry Flair matches. Like, maybe you compare them, but I'm talking about current wrestling where, because that is the AEW is, he's a mark, and he like us, Tony Khan, so he does it for the sickos and the classic wrestling stuff, which we don't do so much anymore, more entertainment based.
Yeah. So I'd like someone to leave a comment, like Deano said, with a match, something to challenge my thinking, because that's just the headspace.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you say, and then we'll go back and watch it. You know what I mean? Because there might be where we might not have seen it, or we might have seen it, and it's been years since we've seen it. So I'd like to you know, if you've got a match for me, I'd like to go back and watch it and compare it, to be honest.
Okay. Right. We've covered everything, Deano. It's time to sign off.
Time to get some sleep, Steve.
Time to get some sleep. But remember, nobody talks smack like Deano and Steve O'Mac.
And that's the truth, baby. But yeah, thanks for listening again, guys. I love it every week. Please let us hear your comments because we're eager to hear it. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night.